say hugely flattered and very privileged to be able to say share anything around all the things that I believe in the wonderful world that we live in. And I see you do that on a huge scale, which is brilliant. So well done to you, A, and B, like, say thank you for having me along.
Not at all. I mean, I think the first place I've got to start is your LinkedIn profile and how busy you are there, but the inspiring stuff that you share. I mean, it's a platform that I don't use probably as much as putting out podcasts or Instagram or something like that is where you'll probably find me more. But certainly I've got a presence on LinkedIn. What you're putting out is information and content that for me as a businessman, a dad, part-time amateur sportsman that likes to do things at the weekends and stuff like that, there's a lot of information you're putting out, but it's benefiting me in ways I wasn't ready for. So I enjoy every post. So thank you for that. But tell us a bit about that relationship you've got with LinkedIn and what you're doing now with My Day app.
Well, yeah, I mean, where to start? The LinkedIn thing's interesting. Having gone through a almost 180-degree turn in what I was doing to where I am now, and there's some foundational elements which remain the same no matter what you're doing. Like health is health, and like science tells us what works and what doesn't to a certain extent, and we can choose to either push back against that, or we can use that to benefit us and help improve who we are. And I think, and it's not a case of saying stuff's impossible, but it's a case of saying understand where you're going and what you're doing, and use science to make sure that journey is going to be as successful as possible. So to then lay on top of that, the LinkedIn piece is, yeah, we are 16 months into a journey of building, developing, learning, failing, getting it wrong, finding out amazing things all about corporate well-being, mental, physical health. And like there are categories, of course, which are super important in health, but I like to see it as health overall. And I wanted to think of the best and cheapest ways when we're bootstrapping of how can we get a message out there? How can we show people what we believe in? So if they dig a little deeper and say, oh, is this guy just stuck a couple of things up, or is there a bit more to this? We wanted to make sure that there was an opportunity or somewhere that we could show our true colors on a regular basis. And because it's B2B that we're focusing on initially, we thought LinkedIn was a great place to start. So I'd also like to add that I've got an amazing, say, team of a few people who've helped, and that's, say, the main lady at the moment, a lady called Lee McQueen, who vets everything that I do, edits it to make sure that it makes sense, because, say, when 10 words will do, I'm capable of using 1,000. So yeah, we've chosen that platform, and like it's just about getting good information out there and reminding people that, like, whether it's your podcast or listening to something like that, or one of my mates who posts something on Instagram, it all helps move, say, or the tide all helps to push us to get things done, doesn't it? Because we all feel tired. We all, say, been, like you've spoken about, been a dad, like all of that stuff. You're like, oh my goodness, giving yourself an uppercut in the morning is probably the easiest thing to do. Never mind facing all the bits of kids. So yeah, hopefully, and that's really amazing to hear that it's resonated. Thank you.
No, it certainly is. And when you see that, to give my listeners a bit of background, I know you've got history in rugby yourself, obviously a player yourself, but obviously more recently strength and conditioning with Exeter Chiefs. Were you as prolific on social media then, or was that very much focused on the rugby and with Exeter Chiefs? That's what I do. This new world of sort of social media, podcasting, stuff like that, it's all come since you've launched your new business.
Exactly that. I think I mean, what a ride. It makes me feel really old, but when I say I had 21 years in professional rugby, and it gave me a living, incredible experiences, amazing friends. We got to do things that money can't buy, be in changing rooms where not even the televisions were allowed, work with the best players in the world, play with the best players in the world. And here I am, like regular James from down in Devon, and I will forever be grateful to rugby. Like, it owes me absolutely nothing, and I owe it everything. It gave me an incredible opportunity to see the world, to meet people who I idolized, and all the lessons that go along with it. And that's, yeah, let's say that was brilliant. But very much there's been a sea change since we've gone into the corporate world, whereby we're trying to get our message out there to, like, it's PR and marketing, right? You want to make sure you stand for something. And I've always said, stand for something or fall for everything. So we're trying to make sure we make a stand about what we believe in terms of people's health.
What was that run like with Exeter? Obviously, such a successful team, and obviously you've got some of our best players in Hoggy and Johnny Gray down there at the moment. But that culture at Exeter, obviously, it's something that a lot of teams will have been envious of. But that run to get the championships, to get the silverware that you'd worked so hard for, what was that like behind the scenes in the engine room around Exeter?
Yeah, it's a really interesting one, right? And I've been relegated from the Premiership. I've been promoted. I've been involved in sides that have won the doubles, that have lost finals, that have underachieved and overachieved. And there are, without doubt, some things which are plain to see no matter what, and that's the quality of people that you have involved in your organization. Like you've heard, like, the no dickheads rule, but that is so true. Having people that are very values based, have a good awareness of themselves, but then layer that on top of astute leadership that brings together a strategic framework that allows the players to have boundaries but operate within and make decisions within. I think all of those are really important. Incredibly talented players, an amazing academy system, the pick of all the best players from Devon and Cornwall. All of those things have an impact on where we were and what we were able to achieve. But then also to be able to keep those players, because there was a binding sort of like you look at the Manchester United, you know, when say Giggs, Nicky Beckham, all of those, let's say they were all there and at the same time. And Exeter had a similar thing. Like you look at the names Noel Cowan-Dickey, Sam Hill, Dave Ewers. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. Slady and Joe Simmons, Sam Simmons. All of these names, all from the local area. I mean, it's unbelievable. But then to be able to keep them together, help improve them, give them all of the resources that they needed on and off the field. Like it's amazing, but there are so many layers to it that people quite often, I think, underestimate all of the additional things that are needed. But the big ones, good people bound together by a willingness to adhere to the strategic framework and say, not take the easy route and do the hard work. And I've been to all the clubs, they all work hard in pre-season, right? They all do the bits and pieces that you expect, but they say that untangible bit above that is the really interesting bit that I think is maybe so hard to be able to deliver on.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, looking at that team, you can tell by the names, and as you list them out there, they're household names, not just in England but across world rugby. That have gone on to great things, whether it be England and the Lions. And that culture, obviously, at Exeter is, as I said earlier, something that a lot of teams will be envious of. What you've stepped into now, though, what made you step away? What made you make the huge? Because it's something I talk to a lot of athletes about, is life after rugby, something you've known for so many years. And sometimes rugby players, that snapped Achilles or some injury that forces the end, or they don't get a contract or something, or it's age that beats them. You've made this bold decision to step away. Take us through that sort of mindset, and we'll get into the tough days, I don't know, maybe there's been, have I done the right thing, all those sorts of things.
Of course. I think let's say there are a number of critical factors that came together that meant I felt I was ready to move on. So we'd done all the amazing things and achieved some brilliant stuff. And I have absolutely not a bad word to say about the club, the people, the experiences, and the memories that it gave me. But I'm a hugely ambitious person, and I think I was almost fortunate in the fact that I went from playing to staying in rugby, because that meant that transition was made easier by the fact that I didn't fully step away initially when I realized I wasn't that good at rugby and I probably need to try something else. In that it wasn't removing myself completely from the change room and standing on my own 2 feet. So there was a sort of middle ground. And then I'd been at Exeter for 9 years, and I was exploring other opportunities whereby you say, do you know the Daniel Pink's trilogy, you know, mastery, autonomy, and purpose? So those 3 drivers for fulfillment. And I had got to the point whereby the people in the senior positions within the team weren't going to be moving on, and they were brilliant at what they did. I turned 40. We'd had 3 kids inside 23 months. So we had a week later, after we had the twins, COVID hit. 5 months later, I say was that big 40th birthday. And I, with this huge ambition, always felt like I wanted to test myself in the biggest arena possible. And I sat down and thought about what were the skills that I had, how could I potentially leverage those and create something that meant there was an opportunity to do something for the greater good of, this sounds a bit over the top, but for the greater good of humanity, so to speak. So something bigger than myself and my own ego. I was helping privileged people do privileged things in rugby, which I absolutely loved for ages, but I wasn't really, and I hadn't ever done something whereby I felt I was giving back, or doing something whereby I felt I was utilizing my skills for the greater good. So put all of those in the melting pot, and I basically thought, right, I came up with this idea, corporate well-being. I had a bit of an in to what the market was positioned like, because of, like, we've had mental health in my family. My brother's a borderline personality disorder sufferer. And that meant that I had an awareness of the space and felt that some stuff could be done differently. There's some amazing things out there, but I also think there were some areas that potentially in the preventative side could have been more appropriately constructed. And so I thought, well, let's go and do that. And on top of that, we've basically brought together 2 areas of huge social significance in health. So mindfulness, mental health, whatever, however you want to position it, but overall health and all the constituents of that. And then sustainability in terms of rewarding people for their habits and behaviors, and not with free coffee and cheap cinema like the general, but we've said, instead of doing that, when you're healthy and make yourself a better employee, essentially, in short layman's terms, we're going to reward you by saying we're going to help heal the planet in some form or fashion through what they call carbon credits. And that's basically a gold standard validated piece of giving that the company does to a partner of ours, and they go and put money into projects in the real world that helps make sure it's going to be healthier longer term. And yeah, I'm hugely passionate about people. I think humans can do the most amazing things when they're given the best platform to do that. Absolutely. And I thought, well, why not try double down on the good?
No, I hear you, and I've been reading about all of it, and obviously preparing for this. I see everything you're doing. We touched. We'll talk about it a lot, I'm sure. But mental health, it's on everybody's mind, to the point of that so many people are affected by it. Nobody really talks about it or gets it out there. What were your thoughts when Michael Hooper stepped back from the Aussie squad? What were your thoughts on him and what he did?
I think that, and having seen this firsthand, and I've not been a sufferer myself, and I can only imagine that's a vastly different experience again. But I think they say there's been a few, hasn't there? A few more cases more recently whereby we've had top level gymnasts, tennis players, now rugby players stepping forward and saying that the challenges that these normal human beings undergo on a regular basis, and sport is relentless. Absolutely. You see these guys on television, or these girls on television, once a week doing their thing, but the day-to-day, week-to-week expectation on delivering your best with no fluctuation is relentless. And then you put that in the spotlight again with being Michael Hooper, the captain of Australia. It's really, really, really difficult. And he's a prime example. His performance levels are incredible. Yeah. Absolutely phenomenal. Consistency is probably one of the most impressive in the modern game. But I think it's really important that people of significant status and everything below that continue to make sure that these messages are heard, that they say they're just people. And you and I have met loads of them, right? Yeah. You're like, oh, I can't wait to meet this amazing person. Like, how was it? It's like, they're awesome. They're just a normal dude, or they're just a normal girl, or they're just, say, doing their best day to day. And sometimes it's just too much, and it is really important. And the challenge is making sure that the appropriate support networks are in place, making sure that people understand how to get to the resources that they need, making sure that those resources are validated and authentic and can actually make a difference and aren't just ticking the box, so to speak. And I think that, say, the longer we go, the more the current generations change, and the more of it we'll see in a positive light. And that's the other important thing, is we keep talking about it in the right light, and not keep talking about these people as
weak, or there's something. Yeah,
exactly. Very, very well put.
It's listening. It's listening, and the default answer is always, when someone says, "How are you?" I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good. Sometimes it maybe needs someone to recognize that you need to dig a bit deeper, or stand beside that person a wee bit longer and see if they'll start talking.
Like hugely powerful words. And that's exactly it. Is being human is so important. Understanding the cadence of the day to day, the week to week, where they might be in their life cycles, and anything from females with menopause to people with young families to new jobs to relationship breaks up, all of these things which are a huge part of a lot of people's everyday. Just making sure that you stand by them. Tough times at work, when things aren't going the way you want because your kids aren't sleep. There's so many of them, right? So many.
It's endless.
Yeah.
And it'll never stop. As fathers, it'll never stop, because I get my kids are 7. No, they're not. 8, 7, 5, and older folk keep telling me, "I'll wait until they're teenagers. They'll never leave the nest. They'll come back. Geez, it'll never end." The stresses and the fatigue, the mental fatigue of running businesses and running your own life, let alone 3 little people.
I'm actually, like, I often say, I think if there's going to be any new superhero film soon, my wife can have a starring role, because the work that she does is phenomenal. And to have, say, we had 3 under 2, and honestly, the first year was the hardest physical thing I've ever done in my life. And they say, don't they? First they drain you physically, then emotionally, and then financially.
But you said earlier that you've never, I mean, I'm not trying to pry or say maybe you have, but never dealt with mental health or so. I bet you have. I bet you just got through it. And I bet you kind of didn't realize at the time how stressed you were, or lack of sleep, or whatever it may be, doubting yourself. All these sorts of things come in with just parenthood.
And without doubt, and I never for a moment wish to play down anybody else's experiences or the challenges that they face, but I've been blessed with a bias towards positivity and a bias towards even muddy puddles have silver linings in them, right? And that's through no other reason than that's just kind of the way I'm made and the way it's always been for me. And I do have a real predisposition to that, but that doesn't mean I don't find stuff hard and shit. But and it doesn't mean that anybody else who goes through those experiences can't feel differently to me. But I do tend to have a real drive towards, great, we've got through that. That must be good for us, or whatever it might be. And and therein lies a lesson, because if I talk about my brother and myself, we couldn't be any more different if we tried on a number of levels. But yeah, we're brought up exactly the same. And I think that that's a great reflection of exactly why we can't do anything but personalize people's experiences and contextualize them for the individual.
See, when you talk about being brought up there, something I want to speak to you about is nature versus nurture in parenting. And we can look at superstars and the Tiger Woods of this world, the Williams sisters and things like that, whose parents we can see the movies have been made.
Nashy and Parksy.
Nashy and Parksy. That's it. We're products of our parents. But you know what I mean? If those kids had different parents, would they be Tiger Woods and the Williams sisters?
Yeah. So it depends which different parents they were. They might have been better, right?
Who knows?
You just don't know. And that's exactly it. But what we do have, again, is and I use the word a lot because it's so important, but is that personalized experience that nobody should try to take away from, because what you feel, and what you feel is really important for other people to understand, because it adds so many layers when somebody can say, I hear you and I understand that that is really difficult for you. One of the things I learned, it was and I'm sure you must listen to, but some of the Diary of a CEO, the Stephen Bartlett stuff, and
Yeah.
I think he does an amazing job. But one of the things he said was when he with his girlfriend, when he said it almost completely subdued any argument when all he had to do was say, I understand what you were saying and I hear you, and I'm sorry that you think I didn't. And that all of a sudden, that's exactly what I think has to become more mainstream, is we have to listen, as you said earlier. We have to put our best foot forward to be quiet and seek to understand before being understood.
Yeah, but see sorry, on the bringing up kids sort of thing, and I'm not trying to say that we're going to be pushy kids or things like that, but how important do you think it is? Environment's crucial, but general ability of a child to the maybe the finances or the coaching that a parent can provide a child to think that my kid's got a bit of ability here. Do you think the kid can find his own route? Do you think they can do that, or they always need a bit of navigation from parents and people in the background to push them on, to build them to do things that other kids aren't doing?
I mean, right, in team sports, we know that more successful athletes come from more rural areas. That's, say, in terms of scientifically, there's evidence around that, especially in America. People who play more than one sport, so they tend to be more successful than those who are who play one sport for the duration. So that's really important as well. So that can come down to the school that they're at, to the level of their peers, to what their parents decide or think may be relevant or appropriate for them. Because how many times do you hear about the young prodigy that never was? And media's got a great way of pushing this narrative around solo sports is the way to win. Like, but how many of them actually are? If you looked at all of the top performers, that say Tiger Woods and the Williams systems, they love making films about them because it's a great story. But the reality is that's not the norm. The norm is multiple disciplines over the course of time, not specializing too early, having exposure to a large number of characteristics which those sports deliver. So that's one part of it. And then the parenting bit, of course it has an influence, but I think it can have an influence on so many different parts of it. It could be, like in my case, my school coach. It could be my dad wasn't around, did that or didn't, let's say from the age of like 12 when we moved to the UK. Like, did that or didn't that have an impact? Maybe it did, because I was looking for somebody to guide me, and the rugby coach was the person I found. And I don't think we can, like, we know nature and nurture both matter, but it's very difficult to pinpoint the exact position of how does that nurture matter, because it's going to be from different people in different areas at different times, if that makes sense.
It does. And with, you said there your dad wasn't around. How does that influence you as a dad in the way you are with your kids?
My dad did not love us, right? Let's say my parents split up, and say that happens. My dad did not love us, but I guess it has had a distinct input in me. Like my greatest fear would be to leave my wife as a single parent of our children. Like, absolutely, without doubt, uncategorically, I can stand here and say sit in front of you and say that. It also means that I really want to be a positive a role model as possible to them, in my eyes, and that's different for everybody. But for me, it means I want to show them the values that I think are important in human beings, no matter what you do. So to be consistent, to be trustworthy, to be transparent, honest, hardworking, ethical, and to try and make sure that I do my best, and I don't get it right all the time. My goodness gracious me. Like when your fuse is short and you've been up for, say, up with 3 hours sleep and they're screaming at you, it's so fucking hard, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But I'm a long way from perfect, but that's what I use as my North Star to guide me to do everything I can to try and deliver those values, say, to my kids.
You see what you said there, and it's so important what you said, that as a dad, it's fucking hard.
Oh,
You know, and so many dads grind it out, or they get to I think you see it, they maybe get to the end of the relationship. We can't work on this. We can't do anything else. And they're just not talking about it. You and me as two dads talking about it, it's hard. And hopefully there's a dad listening to this that thinks, it fucking is hard, as he's driving in the car or he's on that bus again, the sweaty train, whatever he's doing. He's like, right, but these lads are talking about it. We've got to talk about these things more.
Hardest emotional thing I've done by the first year, as I say, I've been involved in some pretty brutal physical activities in my time through pre-seasons in rugby and delivering in army camps and all that shit, but not even a touch on the relentless nature of being a dad through that first year with 3 young children. And again, like I use this again, that was my hard, and somebody else's hard is going to be different, but it doesn't change the fact that it's like punch yourself in the nuts is not even close to how hard it can be, right? And the other thing I'll just add to that is, without doubt, when you talk about it, it makes it so much easier, because there's one of my favorite sayings: if everybody threw their problems into the middle of a room, you'd soon run and get yours back. Because say you go and talk to somebody else about it. Like I talked to my mates down the road, they're like, God, my kid's eardrum burst. He'd been screaming for 5 nights, and then a load of pus came out. We didn't even know because they're too small to talk. And you're like, oh my God, that sounds horrendous. It makes my really reasonably shitty night sound like a night, a night in the Marriott with no kids. And that's why these things are so important. That's why talking is so important, no matter what. And it's always, the other thing is, everything is harder in our imagination than it is in reality, whereby talking about it is so much harder. You think, oh, I'm going to sound silly. This can't be the right way. It must be so difficult. But in reality, you talk about it exactly that. And somebody goes, oh, you too? Oh my God, my little shit. You know? And that's what parenting is. And yeah, I definitely advocate and back you up on all of those.
How did you cope yourself? I mean, this time last year, or when you were back with Exeter, you could go into training and you've got 50 odd folk around. You've got people to speak to. There's a brotherhood. There's that environment. Whereas now you've got your team. I know you've got your team with My Day, the My Day app, but it's not like a rugby changing room. Losing that rugby changing room environment, which I lost many years ago now, it can be difficult to be kind of the lone wolf now. Yeah.
So for me, it's very different. And coaching is, strength and conditioning specifically, is very different, because you're kind of a halfway house between coaches who are fully removed and the players, whereby you've got to help them make the right tough decisions, but you don't have to necessarily absolutely come down on them like a ton of bricks. So you're a sort of halfway house. And I feel that my transition probably started after I retired from playing, which was sort of 14 years ago now. And to be able to layer on top of that I care about what I'm doing a lot. This means a huge amount. I've put all my chips into the middle of the table to go and do something which is a risk, and that drives me on massively in terms of, I'm so excited to get up and do this and deliver. And we've been able to get to a stage where we're talking to, and in the process of trying to deliver something big, I've got huge ambitions. Like, I've got world-changing ambitions. Like, I'm not doing this for fun. I'm doing this because I want to make a change in the world for the better. So there's a legacy there that I can say to my kids, I stood up for what I believed in, and I went and I chased after it as hard as I could. And with that, I'll either fall over and fail, and if I do, I've learned and I'll do something else, or I've achieved something brilliant. And for me, that's what life's about. Life's so short and finite that you have to grab everything that's in front of you. Like, I've seen the worst things in rugby. I've seen everything from, this sounds terrible, but from, say, my very close friends having children who don't survive long after birth, through to friends who have young children with cancer who've fortunately come through and everything's fine. But it's just having that piece of reflection that the reason I did this wasn't because I missed the change room. The reason I've done this is because I want to go and do something and test myself to deliver potentially something that can do a shitload of good. So that change room piece is when you've got you'll know this, when you've got a young family, it's different, right? You want to be at home and you want to be helping and you want to be looking after, because there's that mum guilt, isn't there? That you feel like, oh shit, I haven't done this, I haven't done that. So in terms of that reflection piece around the change room, for me, it's probably slightly different, or it's very different to the people who have a short, sharp ending to their career. But for me, this is very much about the bigger picture and trying to deliver on that, I guess.
Were you questioned at all by friends, by mates, by family on, not that anything in rugby, as we see from Wasps and Worcester, nothing is forever, nothing is,
oh my goodness,
necessarily safe. And that's not just as a playing career, but the backroom staff, everything. Were you questioned as to why you're leaving Exeter to go and try this, to go and, the way you talk passionately about it, and I see what you're putting out there, and I see the app and I see everything you're doing, I understand it. Now it's out there, but before it was actually, excuse me, before it was something, were people questioning you?
Oh, and let me just reposition that. Like, we aren't anything yet. Like, we are in a position whereby, and for full transparency, say we're very close to potentially doing some brilliant, or getting involved in some brilliant deals with some great companies. But we're nothing at the moment. We've been 15 months of development, learning, failing, getting it wrong, finding where we can be better. And in April next year, we launch a big proof of concept, which is that's going to be our big push to market then. So of course I'm sure people are skeptical, but people don't tell you that to your face, right? Everyone just says, yeah, you'll do great. You'll do great. And it's like, I might, or I might not, but I'll do everything within my power to go out there and make sure that I'm consistent over a sustained period of time, delivering something I believe in, which is this bringing together of two areas of huge social significance, and helping businesses deliver that to their people. And if we can do that, I think we'll be all right. So yes, I'm sure people doubted me.
Yeah, but it's yeah, like you said, it's not often to your face, is it?
No,
but you go and pitch things to your mum, to family, to best friends, to all these sorts of things, and they're never going to give you the shit feedback. Oh, good luck, good on you. And then who knows, they close the door and they think, Jesus, what is he doing?
Well, and one of the best things I've done is I've worked really hard to regularly find as much constructive criticism as possible. There's an amazing guy, he won't ever see this, a guy called Nick Telson, who is an angel investor. And I pitched this to him once, and he said, listen, you've got a lot of work to do if you want this to be anything significant. This was our version 1. He was like, I wouldn't touch that with a barge pole. This is shit. And you're like, great, tell me how, tell me what, tell me where, and I can fix it and change it. And since then, we've gone on, we've got better. And we launched version 2 to a small group of 120 odd people. And that's what we've been sort of ticking off now, getting that better. And now we've really got some things which are getting some of the world's biggest businesses to stand up and take notice. So if we can get that right, and we're going to get a little bit of that, then we can start doing something exciting.
So just let's get into the guts of it, because there are entrepreneurs, there are business owners that listen to this show. What's the app's aim? What does it do? What kind of company, if they approach you for information, how can it benefit them?
Yeah, so and thank you. Like, we're a digital health and wellbeing resource that allows businesses to do two things. One, support their staff with physical and mental health, not only content, but peer-to-peer support groups that sit across a number of businesses, which is something we're really excited about and we're really powerful. So around those, we've spoken about those big life cycle events, right? We're going to build out female health, so things around menopause and fertility, and somewhere where you can go meet people of similar lived experience. Because rugby's taught me one thing: you get a load of blokes who've got nothing in common except rugby, and they get on like a house on fire, right? And that's what, it doesn't matter where they come from. If they come from Tonga, Australia, America, France, Japan, I played with them from everywhere, Spain, Italy, they all get on. And that's because they've got that similar lived experience. And I couldn't help but feel that we had to find a way to get people to relate on this platform. It wasn't just about directing people to content. So there's that bit. And then the other piece is rewarding people for the greater good. And we know biologically, humans are absolutely, without doubt, geared to doing good. So it's one of the five ways to well-being. So the 5 ways to well-being, see if I can remember them. So to learn, to move, to do good, to connect, and to be mindful. So be present in the moment. So I wanted to try and bring those areas together for people, and that connection piece was important, and the doing good piece was important. And then what better way in the current climate than to find ways to support the narrative around climate change in front of employees? Because it's such a big, tough thing. You say like climate change, people are like, oh, what can I do? And we're saying, we'll do it if you be healthy, and we'll help you to do that. And alongside that, the big piece is, how can we help businesses make sure that these things are front of mind? And then it's about delivery, right? Whether you're a technical product or not, it's about the service you deliver to people, and we want to be really good at that. And yeah, like I'm going to learn, I'm going to keep getting stuff wrong, and I'm going to say I'm going to keep walking forward, keep walking through the storm, and say make sure you enjoy the rainbow.
See that you commented there on being present. That can be so difficult.
I'm absolutely useless at this so often at home, mate. Like, but this poison to me, poison.
And you can say, I'm going to put it on charge, I'm going to do it, I'm going to turn off notifications, I'm going to stay away from it. It's there at the back of your mind, isn't it? Your phone is there, connections, what's going on, I need to post that, I need to take a photo. Oh, wait there, I'm going to go and get my phone. Do that again, Hunter, to my kid who's done 10 keepy uppies or something. You know what I mean? Do it again, I'll get my phone this time, so send it to Granny.
Yeah.
You're back on a screen when you weren't planning on being.
Okay, and like, I think there's a few points here. Is one, I don't think we need to demonize it. I think we need to use it for its best case. I wholeheartedly believe that anything that's worthwhile doing is going to be really challenging and needs to be tough, because otherwise, how are you going to get the results that you need? And part of my tough at the moment, and I'm not validating, I need to be better with my phone. I'm telling you that right now. If I've been out, I come back in, I put it in the drawer, and I don't touch it till the twins have gone to bed. But if I'm at home, I don't have a cutoff, and that's a real work on of mine. But there's a whole load of good in there as well. Like I've done some amazing drawing things with my 4-year-old daughter on my phone, which have been absolutely incredible. And she's created these incredible masterpieces that would never have been popular. And we've helped each other and learned through that. So it's not all bad. I think it's just about awareness. And like I'm telling you now, I need to be better.
So hey, say me, hands up. Absolutely. And there'll be millions of people like that, billions of people that testify at the same thing.
Yeah.
But many people aren't, they're not, my phone is a tool. It's obviously I waste a lot of time in it, but it's a tool for Instagram, for sharing podcasts, for sharing properties, for things when I do the day job and all these sorts of stuff, sorts of things.
Yeah.
But it's also collecting memories. I had a great thing. I interviewed a guy called Sean Conway, an adventurer, and I was asking him about social media and his kids and all these sorts of stuff. And he's like, oh, my kids have both got Instagram pages, and they're like babies. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, my wife and I, we created their Instagram pages. And so every day or whenever something cool happens, we post it on their pages. Now it's completely private, but we'll give them the logins when they're 18. I said, bloody brilliant idea.
Yeah, great idea.
Absolutely brilliant idea. And I was like, that's a really good idea. I've spoken to another influencer. This was early COVID. And he's got a daughter, and what he's doing, he is a very, he's an influencer. He's got hundreds of thousands of followers. But his daughter, who I don't think she's a teenager yet, but she's got tens of thousands of followers. She doesn't know she's got Instagram.
Wow.
He says that's cash in the bank for her.
Yeah.
Because he says when she does become 18, whatever if she goes into art, if she goes into law, if she goes into 100,000 followers, there you go. Audience. They all know who you are. You have got an audience. Go and be you in your field.
Yeah.
These people they're thinking ahead of how best to use social media.
Definitely. I'm definitely not that far advanced yet, but I know there's some fabulous opportunities out there if you get it right.
Yeah. Now on your platform, your LinkedIn leads everybody. Get on James's LinkedIn. That leads to the website. You've got some great blogs on there. One of them was titled "Be Boring." Tell me about that.
I think, it's been really enjoyable. I've always, I love reading or listening to books or consuming content around personal development. I think that one of the most enjoyable parts of having gone on this adventure that I'm on is I've started writing, which I've always enjoyed. I love reading good stuff, and I have enjoyed trying to find my voice, which is, and say thank you for highlighting that. Yeah, the be boring bit is an interesting one. It's about making sure that you don't have to think life's highlights, right? You get out there and do the hard work, and you enjoy those bits and pieces that take us to the destinations. Make sure you understand when you're on the journey that those are the bits that we enjoy, that doing stuff when other people aren't, waking up when they don't, even if it's not as crass as that, but supporting, say, sleepless nights with your child. Make sure you reflect back on that and understand that's what creates the bonds with your children. That's what creates, for me, like, say, continuing to put stuff out there about what I believe in. That's what builds my tribe. It's not the ticker tape parades. It's not the running through the, as I say, running through and winning at the end. It's all the other experiences. Like I say, I truly believe, as I said earlier, all the hard work pays off in the end. And if you are willing to go tuck yourself away, crack on with a project consistently over time, and do the hard work, that it does end up in having some fantastic rewards long term, intrinsically and extrinsically.
I totally agree. I've managed to work really hard on this. That, as an example, at the weekend there, my boys, 7 and 5, Hunter and Rocky, they're wrestling on the trampoline.
My son's middle name's Rocky. Great one.
Is it?
Yeah.
Great name, isn't it? It's a great name.
name.
So they're on the trampoline, they're wrestling. I'm at my fire pit. I've got bacon and eggs on, and you can tell this is true. It's all on bloody Instagram. Of course it is. Okay, but Hunter starts bawling his eyes out, absolutely bawling his eyes, and I'm giving it, what is it? Come here, and he doesn't move. I go over, and there's blood pouring out his mouth. They've been wrestling. It's an accident, but Rocky has knocked out with his knee one of Hunter's wobbly teeth. Okay, it was a wobbly tooth. It was a baby tooth. It's all fine. He is absolutely fine. I knew instantly, I will talk about this when they are 20,
Yeah.
when they're 30, when they are older, when it comes up in conversation, when I'm trying to embarrass them. That time your little brother knocked your tooth out. It's trying to be, so I work really hard on being present.
Yeah.
You know, and being and noticing this is a moment that Abby and I and the whole family will remember on that trampoline on that Sunday morning.
Oh, definitely. And like it's difficult. Like my wife, we talk back to the social media bit, right? My wife logs all of the stuff on stories, and she goes back and looks at them, and it's amazing, absolutely amazing. But I definitely, as you say, having the ability to capture those moments in our mind's eye, and I say there will be, let's say, being able to talk about it today just makes me laugh. As you know, all of those things are absolutely fantastic, and those are the things that really matter. The things that matter aren't the, like you hear it and see it everywhere these days. It's not the, say, the fast cars and the nice watches, as people say, which I've definitely got neither of those, but it's about the, you know, holding hands with your kid walking to school. It's about my daughter started school this school year, and the first week she didn't get the school bus. Second week she got the school bus. Third week I took her down. She's 4. She gets on the school bus to go off. I'm nearly in tears. I'm like, my 4-year-old girl. But I'll remember that forever. I can literally see it now. Doing a seatbelt up, off she goes. Those are the things that matter. People matter. Experiences matter. Relationships matter. Like, that's the stuff that really lights our fire and sets us off, right? That's what it's about. And it's about, and health is wealth. I'm without doubt a big believer in that, definitely.
Oh, totally. My God, the listeners will be sick of this, but I'm going to tell you, I've got this training group with dads in my local village, and we're called Dads and Dudes. Okay, and that's what we do.
Are you a dude or a dad?
I'm a dad. I'm one of the dads. We're all trying to be dudes, though. That's the thing. That's the sort of playing it. We're all dads that want to be dudes, and we're dads that used to be dudes. You know what I mean? So it's all
better than me already.
It's all morphed and just come to be since the summer. When I always train on my own, jump in the sea, the cold water stuff, and all these bits and pieces up here. Now there's a whole community of us. Amazing. And it's relentless. Today we started, all of us were challenging 100 press ups a day. You know, we're training tomorrow morning at 6:30 in the local park. Tomorrow, Thursday night, 7:30. Sunday, 8. It's relentless what these boys are doing, and I'm delighted to be sort of spearheading it and setting up events, Christmas parties, and we're going to Edinburgh Rugby v Munster in December. So we're doing it all. But it's the camaraderie there that I've got back, than not being in a changing room.
Human connection. The
human connection, because we had the WhatsApp groups before through COVID, and you weren't seeing people. Now we are sending each other messages and then seeing each other the next day.
Yeah.
And it's crucial to get that human connection. I can't even remember why I was going down that road, but that's something that's hugely important to me that we've lost. COVID didn't help. Social media doesn't help with that. It's actually getting in front of people. And what happens there? Our kids see us with other people, and our kids see us with other dads and other mums, and they associate good people and hard work. And it just starts to snowball.
I definitely like, and we can never predict the future, but say values are hugely important, and kids don't do what you say, kids do what you do. And that's always something for me, which I try to remember as often as possible when I'm getting stuff really wrong.
So you sit with a book in the lounge, there's every chance your kids will walk up to you with a book.
Yeah. Oh, well, I love reading to my kids, like definitely. And I say I should do it more often.
Yeah.
And I say, and that's a good reminder for me, definitely.
And then I won't keep you too much longer, but come on,
no,
autumn tests. Let's talk a wee bit of rugby. Did you watch the Scotland game?
I didn't. I like one thing. So this is 16 months I left rugby. I've watched probably 5 games, something like that, 2 live, just because on Saturday my kids don't want to watch rugby. They want to run around, change the nappies, etc. So give me a few years and I'll watch more of it. But no, I didn't see. I saw the score on the weekend.
Yeah, a sore one. I mean, we don't get many chances to beat the Southern Hemisphere teams, but hey, we move on.
No, I say a very good somebody I hold in incredibly high regard is Nick White, and who comes with I say he's Marmite, isn't he? You love him or you hate him, but like you say, talk about good humans. Like that guy is flat out, mate, absolutely flat out everything he does, and say he's got a wonderful young family as well. A big fan of it.
But even leadership. I don't know if you saw at the end of the game, he kicked the ball out. He needed to, that was taking the bull by the horns.
Yeah,
that's what teams need. Teams need that. You see it in Farrell. You see it in all the leadership across big teams.
I think the thing that I love about rugby is that you get somebody like White who's 70 something kilos, and he's competing against the biggest, best and ugliest in the world, and that's just the great thing about it, is it delivers an opportunity for people to display their best selves no matter who you are in a fantastic way. And another thing I'd like to add is the rise of the women's game, I think, has been absolutely fantastic. And what the England's women team in particular are, currently on an unbelievable run. But just I think the rise of the women's game, you think how early we are in that transition. I think that bodes for a really exciting future and a really brilliant opportunity for another vessel for women's sport to be elevated to where it should be.
Absolutely, and a lot of that comes down to social media. We're back there. You can see more of it now. You can get access to more of it. The games are on TV. You got to get out your bed early at the moment, but to follow the World Cup. But from social media to podcasts to the Scottish women's team, I know the coach quite well, and they're out there putting the work in. Scotland unfortunately didn't get the results they wanted, but it's coming. They are building a platform that is only going to grow.
Exactly, and it's about, for me, an example there. What legacy can that team leave for the next? And it's for the next to be better, and for the next to have the opportunities to know that it's good to be. So it's cool to be a rugby player, and it's healthy, and it helps with a whole host of things around confidence, teamwork, like groups. Sharing, caring, all the things that we know are so important. Different shapes, sizes, all of those things are very, very valuable, I think.
Yeah, here. Well, James, this has been awesome. It's been a great chat. Where can people connect? I know LinkedIn, but the website and everything, where should people find you?
LinkedIn is generally the easiest. The website is, you can find that from my LinkedIn. I think just James Parks on LinkedIn. There's a picture of an ugly bloke standing there trying to smile. That's me. But should people wish to talk about, literally, I always say this, is my inbox is open. And I'm always happy to say, if anyone, it doesn't have to be anything business, like it can be just say they want somebody to chat to and they feel there's something that resonates. They're struggling, they want some help with some direction, they feel as though they need somebody to listen to. Any of those things, I'm always I feel privileged and humbled to be able to support anyone, should I or could I, anywhere. Please feel free to reach out.
I can feel a podcast coming. Have you thought about that? You thought about launching one?
I've thought about, when the time is right. Yeah, I've got an idea. So it'll basically be my day, say, and finding people and looking at what they do with their day, and just normalizing that people haven't necessarily, say, great people don't do extraordinary things, they do ordinary things extraordinarily well. And say, trying to normalize that for me, I think would be a fantastic way to help people achieve the incredible opportunities that they've got, the talent that they've got, they may never know that they even had.
It's that, and also just how to not waste days.
Yeah,
the amount of days that we waste.
Yeah, I would say without at the moment I'm pretty short on the wasted ones. I won't lie. I've had a pretty good run of it the last 16 months, but we'll see what the next year brings. And say, I'm unbelievably flattered that you'd even asked. Like, I had a look through the people that you've spoken to, and like, there's some of my heroes in there: Sean Fitzpatrick, Nims Dye, say, to name but a few. There's some incredible people on there. So I'm absolutely flattered to have an opportunity. Thank you.
Well, it goes, I mean, straight back at you. I'm so delighted to speak to you. You're inspiring to me because you've committed, and the way you talk so much about what you're going to build and the legacy you want to leave. That's not that common. It's not that common to get out of something that you know, that's something that is ingrained in you because you want to make a difference. And that, for me, it's a big thanks to Big Jim and the Big Jim Show, who introduced me to you. I listened to that show. Everyone who listens to this, please go and listen to the Big Jim Show, where you're on it and you talk a bit more rugby, a bit more in depth than the rugby side, which Jim can obviously relate to with his time in Saracens and beyond.
Yeah.
But no, what you're doing, James, is awesome. I want to keep in touch. If that's all right with you.
It'll be an absolute, privilege. It'll be good to catch up, and say, at some stage when our worlds meet, that couldn't be further apart at the moment. I don't imagine, but so that would be lovely. And I'll I'll drop you an email, and say we'll make sure we catch up.
Awesome. Well, you take care.
Love to you and your family, and
thank you.
Have a brilliant rest of your week, my man.
You too.
Cheers. Thank you so much. All the best.
Make sure it's on your face. Go.